Hey, 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 it's time for another out of this world story from our space. My 29 male wife, 28 female, of 5 years, together for 12, cheated 2 months ago and has been doing everything right ever since, but I feel like our marriage is done. Wife cheated on me 2 months ago. Went out drinking with her friends, happens rarely, despite asking her several times to stay home with me that night and spend time with our 2-year-old son. Apparently at the bar, this dude bought her several drinks and she got drunk as hell, which was extremely atypical of her. Her friends had a bad feeling about this and tried to bring her home, but she insisted she would take a cab, and her friends eventually left her alone with the guy. Well, as it turns out, she went home with him. The whole time I was blowing up her phone, dozens of texts and calls, and I kept asking her friends where she was, but I got no answer from them. I had never been so worried in my life. Holy F. Then she comes back at 3 a.m. reeking of alcohol and covered in tears. She confessed to everything right at the effing door, every single detail. She didn't even know this a-hole's name, yet liked him enough to go to his house and screw him on his bed. She said as soon as her head cleared up, she broke down in tears over what she just did and took a cab home. Now me, I was freaking enraged, but didn't want to say or do anything since I knew I would probably go to jail if I did. I calmly told her to shower and go to sleep. Then I took off my wedding ring and got the F out of the house. Just went around driving for a bit, screaming in the car, etc. Meanwhile, she's blowing up my phone with tons of messages and voicemails apologizing and begging me to come back. I come back a few hours later, and she's awake, still sobbing and mumbling. I asked her what we would do now, and she swore to do anything and everything to regain my trust. I was of mind to divorce immediately. But I love my wife, and connect with her more strongly than with anyone else. I didn't forgive her yet, but gave her a chance to try. She was ecstatic, but still in tears, saying she doesn't deserve it, but will make the most of it. And I guess she's been true to her word. She doesn't go out to bars anymore without me. She gave me complete access to all her stuff. She only drinks when I'm there, and she has been giving 200% to please me, cooking all my favorite meals, buying me tons of gifts, continuously apologizing, doing more housework to give me more free time, even writing poems asking for my forgiveness. She even confessed what she had done to her friends, who had been avoiding her more and more out of disgust for what she did to me. She also told her parents what she did on her own accord, and explained that she was raised better than that and is trying to save her marriage. Not once did she try to blame the cheating on me or remove any responsibility from herself. She didn't try to justify or rationalize what she had done because she knew there was nothing bad about her relationship she could go off of. She accepted full blame and owned up to her actions. She said she's willing to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to save our marriage. She still cries from time to time out of remorse, like before bed, during showers, sometimes just while cooking. This sounds like the perfect post-cheating course of action, I know. She's doing everything flawlessly. Despite this, I just can't get the image out of my head. Every time she tries to initiate, I think of her and him. Clam up and then push her away, not violently. Since that night, we haven't so much as hugged. She has tried to kiss me before, but like usual, I just distance myself. I've been sleeping in the guest bedroom while she begs me to come to her and then cries herself to sleep every night. I know that she's truly and genuinely sorry, that her remorse is real. These aren't crocodile tears that most cheaters cry when they get caught. She did everything right. She confessed to me immediately, changed her habits, and did everything I asked. She sometimes asks me if I've forgiven her yet, and I always say, not yet. I mentioned possibly divorcing to her a few weeks ago, and she broke down, saying she will never love another man, will never allow another man to raise our child, and that I mean everything to her and her whole world would just shatter into pieces if she lost me. I think out of all the people who have ever cheated and want to regain the trust of their partner, my wife has done the best. Despite this, I just can't forget about what she did. I wake up in the morning and the first thing I think of is her in his bed with him. I have trouble sleeping now since the thought of them having sex keeps me up. I feel nauseous and numb all the time. The singular thought, some other guy screwed my wife, is stuck in my mind all day. I don't want this to keep happening, but I can't find any way to strike it from my mind. Every so often, I feel like unleashing all my anger on her, calling her all the names in the book, telling her I hate her. Lately, I find myself on a local pier, just staring out into the ocean for hours at a time. I go there to just stop thinking about what she did and escape for a while. Then when I go home, the misery starts again. I don't know if I love my wife anymore. At times I feel such a strong hatred for her that I almost vomit knowing that I married her. Sometimes I see her as she was before the cheating, and in those moments, I can love her again. They don't last longer than a few seconds, though. I feel like I'm the bad guy for wanting a divorce. She has been doing everything correctly since the infidelity, so I should forgive her, right? That's what most people would probably do, I guess. But I can't stop thinking about her and the other guy. I know that as long as I keep thinking about them, this marriage won't last. Our anniversary is in 9 days, and this keeps triggering memories of our relationship, the wedding, the birth of our son, trips we took, happy days, etc. Now it just hurts, a really heavy pain in my chest and throat to think of them. We've been together since high school, fully committed and faithful. I just can't grasp how she could do this to me. How she could make a series of bad decisions one after the other to end up cheating. My mouth feels dry whenever I think of how that night must have gone. How she must have kissed him, walked into his home, to his bedroom, laid out on his bed, took off her clothes, whatever. A lot of the time I feel like killing myself or killing her or killing the other guy. I fantasize about cheating on her to make things even. Sometimes I imagine just hitting her over and over, but I would never do that. I never laid a finger on my wife. I don't hurt people. I've never had violent or angry thoughts like this before. My wife's adultery screwed with my head more than should be possible. I don't feel like the same person anymore. I feel hollow all the time. I'm here to ask, is there any way I can bring myself to forgive her? Or should I just divorce her and move on? Find a woman who won't cheat on me? I want my son to grow up with the belief that cheating is totally unacceptable. I feel like if I stay with my wife, my son will learn that it's okay to forgive cheating, and I don't want him to ever stay with a woman who cheated on him. At the same time, I keep living every day, hoping I might have an epiphany that I can truly forgive her and love her again. Seems like a hopeless fantasy, though. I don't want any suggestions to check out r/surviving infidelity. I've seen it already and don't want advice on there. I'm thinking about therapy for myself. I'm sort of reluctant to do marriage counseling since I fear the counselor will try to find a way to spin the whole thing on me and blame me for creating an environment that led to her to cheat. Not going to tolerate hearing that BS. Please help me. I don't know what to do. I'm sick of feeling sick. Too long didn't read? Wife cheated on me 2 months ago, drunken one-night stand, confessed immediately, has been doing everything perfectly to regain trust. I can't get the image of them having sex out of my head and it's killing me. What should I do? Update. I figured out what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk to her about possibly making it even somehow. I'll see what she says, and depending on her response, I might try to reconcile or divorce without a second thought. Also, I'm going to ask her for the full truth about this guy. I find it weird that she remembers he's divorced, 33, and not in shape, but can't remember his name. Never mind, this is a bad idea. This was my vengeful side talking. I'm not going to try and make it even. I'm just going to get the full truth out of her and then steel myself to suggest divorce. Yes, I want her to suffer for what she did. As one user said in a PM, she will suffer most if I leave her. In her own words, she said that would destroy her. But I'm not divorcing her just to spite her. No. I'm doing it because I don't want to remain in a ruined marriage. I'm doing it because she betrayed me and I'm not willing to be a doormat and excuse her behavior. I probably won't change my mind, but I'll come back with an update later anyway. Update. I confronted her for the full truth yesterday. Same old stuff. Her crying and apologizing and begging for forgiveness. She didn't remember his name since it didn't come up after their introduction. And she said the reason she kept talking to him was because he was practically drooling over her beauty, and she took pity on him for being recently divorced, losing his house, custody, money, etc. So basically, my wife tried to comfort him and got her ego stroked at the same time, then screwed him. Her phone was on silent the whole time. Very unusual of her. But she wanted to hang out with her friends undisturbed. I suppose calls from her husband were considered distractions that evening. The fact that she gave him what I interpreted as a pity screw made me lose the little respect I had left for her. She swore on her life that she would do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to regain my trust and save our marriage. I asked her what lengths she was willing to go to, and she said if what it takes is me having sex with another woman right in front of her, then she would go for it. If it took having a half-open relationship on my end, then she would do it. If it took her admitting to our son, when he's an adult, what she did, she would do it. She said she would do whatever it takes. I'll admit, I was surprised and touched by this. In that moment, I understood that my wife was truly remorseful and loved me beyond measure. I saw that her apology, her efforts, everything she had done was genuine. I believed that she would certainly erase her crime if she could. I loved my wife. Then I remembered that many people go through life without ever cheating on their partner. That there are women who would never put themselves in such a situation that could lead to cheating. For the 12 years of our relationship, I have not strayed once, despite having several opportunities to do so. And I know that I deserve a woman who won't betray me. My wife did all she could to try and atone for her infidelity, but once something is broken, you can't restore it to what it once was. I'd rather be unmarried than stay in a once broken, repaired marriage. Even if I took her back, the marriage would never be the same again, and I'm not going to torture myself with such a life. I don't want to constantly be in paranoia, wondering if my wife truly is at the grocery store, if she is actually working late or hurting me again. I told her I wanted a divorce and she broke. I explained to her why, despite her pleading. She got on her knees and begged at my feet, saying that she would rather die than be without me. I told her that actions have consequences and I will never forgive her for cheating. She kept crying and I told her to move back in with her parents for the time being. I said I would take care of our son, but she's allowed to visit him anytime. She kept crying and begging, but I was firm on this. She's moving out in 2 days. I plan to meet with a divorce lawyer soon and get the ball rolling. I'm not sure if time away from my wife will change my feelings, but I strongly doubt it. She made her bed. Now she can lie in it. I guess that's it. I'm going to divorce her and hopefully get my life back together. I know it's still too early to think about these things, but I've already decided to remain on civil, but minimal terms with my wife when we are divorced. Never will I entertain the idea of reconciling with her, but I will be polite in our future interactions solely for my son's sake. For the next few months that we are apart, I'm going to make the most of it. I will focus first and foremost on my son. I will periodically check in with my wife's family to see how she's doing. I won't go out and mingle with new women until I'm divorced. I will spend more time at the gym to let out my anger. I will focus my free time on my hobbies, playing the piano and painting, also as a way of letting out my emotions. I won't update anymore. Thanks to all who gave advice and tried to help me make the right decision. I'm confident in what I'm doing, and I pray things work out for me.